Okay, this is our next episode of True Wrestling Fans Discussions. We're going to be going over the career of the Hardy Boys. I'm your host, Mike.
I'm Frank. Let's get into this, man. This is the one of the most charismatic tag teams of the Attitude Era. I don't want to say they are the modern day Rockers. I don't like comparing them to other
That's
tag teams.
At the time, that's what they were billed as.
Yeah, unfortunately, and I don't like when they do that. When they say, "Oh, this is the next this, the next that," like Dolph Ziggler's next, Shawn Michaels.
Yeah,
No, they're the first themselves. They're a unique tag team. And you talk
I
about the
agree.
Hardy Boys. What's up?
No, I said I agree. I agree.
Oh, you talk about the Hardy Boys. This is a tag team that seriously paid their dues before they even got a contract. A lot of people don't know, and if you do, awesome. They were 16-year-old jobbers in the early 1990s. Getting it, do you remember Jeff Hardy constantly getting his butt kicked by Razor Ramon? They got their spot at the King of the Ring at one time, the opening the doors. I mean, these kids, they paid their dues getting their butt handed to them. And finally, in 1998, Vince McMahon and WWE signed them to a contract, and they were actually trained by Dory Funk Jr. in the Funkin' Dojo. So, I mean, right there, you've got a legend training them. And these two kids came out smoking, and their first they started if I can get the words out here, I'm sorry. They started their rise as a popular tag team with the win over Kai and Tai. I know that's not saying much, especially with it being Kai and Tai.
That's a name I haven't heard in years.
Taka, Dick Togo, and
Mitsubishi.
Funaki,
Taco Mitsubishi.
and Mitsubishi, yeah. I only remember them. If you tell me Kai and Tai, I remember Taka Michinoku getting a concussion at the 2000 Royal Rumble when he flipped over the rope and hit his head after they came out for the third time trying to get in the
Right. Yeah. I forgot. Oh man, that was great.
That and the whole segment they did with Val Venus, I choppy your pee pee. That's pretty much about it. But whatever. That win for them was on September 27th, 1998. So the Attitude Era is already kicked off. So they're joining, into the process. That match was on Sunday Night Heat, which again isn't saying much, but it's a win.
Mm-hmm.
They put them with when I don't know if you remember, I'm sure you remember this with their manager Michael P.S. Hayes.
Yeah.
And I thought it was funny seeing Michael P.S. Hayes in the same pants and the tight shirt as the Hardys. He had the walking stick.
You know what he looked like, man? He looked like that.
A bum?
No, I wouldn't go that far. He looked like somebody who you could tell, like back in the day, like he was like cool, he was a pimp, but now he's like, old and out of shape. That's what he reminded me of, a guy that you could tell, like, I think back in the day this guy was somebody, but now he's not, and he's still trying to hold on.
Yeah, he's trying to rekindle his youth.
Right. That's what that's what it looked like. But I mean, I guess it was better than Doc Hendricks, like I guess it was.
I never liked when they renamed him.
No, I mean, he should have always been Michael Hayes.
Yes, we all knew the minute he got there, you hear that voice. And again, when he first got there, they cut his hair. Again, something I didn't like. But he grew it out to be the manager of the Hardys. And he had that walking stick, and he would point it to the ring and send them off. It was a good start for them. It's something,
it helped.
Somebody famous in their corner to help them along. And if anybody knows the business, it's Michael Hayes.
It's him. The thing was too, they said that Bruce Pritchard said this, that at the time Jeff couldn't talk, and he said that Matt thought he could talk, but he couldn't.
And he couldn't. Their mic skills just totally sucked.
And so they said that's why they had Michael there, just to help them out, just to be the mouthpiece initially, and to also help them in the corner and while they were wrestling, just so they could get acclimated. So it was.
And again, anybody that knows tag team wrestling, it's Michael Hayes, former Freebird. I mean, one of the best tag teams ever.
Bad Street.
Oh man, I love them. The rivalries that the Freebirds had was just classic. Imagine if they would have been in WWE. But then anyway.
Yeah, I think they were there for like a day or something like that.
So they started becoming serious contenders at this point for the tag titles, which I want to take I don't want to take that for face value, because in the Attitude Era, championships were changing like underwear. It was just a daily routine. And it seemed like every other week, somebody else or another was becoming a champion. And Mick Foley had talked about this during the Attitude Era. He said, number one, there were way too many titles. Number two, they're changing too often.
Mm-hmm.
They're not getting a big run with it. So you take them being serious contenders, you take that with a grain of salt, considering what was happening there. There were no long reigns for any of these belts. Speaking of their belts, in 1999, actually on June 29th, 1999, on Raw, which actually aired July 5th, the Hardys defeated the Acolytes to win their first tag team titles. Now, case in point to what I just said, they lost the tag titles to the Acolytes less than a month later, fully loaded.
And so was that when Michael Hayes left?
No, he was still with them.
Okay, because I know he leaves sometime in '99. I think he leaves
in August.
Okay. Also, shortly after that.
Yeah, because in August '99 they jumped Hayes. They left, becoming heels, joining Gangrel.
But didn't they? Okay,
remember, they were the New Brood.
Yeah, but didn't he end up linking up with? They ended up linking up with Michael Hayes because the Hardys saved them. Michael Hayes was getting into a beef with the Brood, and they were going to beat him up. And I think the Hardys came out to save him. And then I think the Brood got with the blood on them, the bloodbath.
Yeah,
this was a little bit before that.
Yeah, because the Hardys were feuding with Edge and Christian and Gangrel.
Yeah,
and then Edge and Christian are out, and now the Hardys are in. And I didn't like that change in the Brood. I liked Edge and Christian starting out. Yeah,
the Hardys were in the Brood.
Yeah.
Oh, man. It's been a while.
And I remember, and it's not hard to forget because a lot of stuff was going on in the Attitude Era then. A lot of chaos, a lot of changing storylines, title changes.
It was like they were kind of throwing stuff at the wall to see what stuck.
Exactly. Fortunate for them in 1999, a lot of the stuff they threw against the wall stuck. Because the 6.0 rating can't, they got to be doing something right.
And this is when Edge and Christian were brothers.
Yeah.
That this is gone by the wayside.
Yeah.
Completely gone by the wayside.
Mm-hmm. So, and this is also around the time once they joined the Brood, they started a series of matches with Edge and Christian. Actually, they were in the Brood for, I'd say, as long as I'm telling you this sentence. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, because I don't really remember this.
It was short lived because Gangrel months later was gone, which is a shame because I did like the character.
I like Gangrel. I like his music too.
Oh, I love the music.
His theme, yeah.
I will still play it to this day in the car. I don't care. Yes, I listen to wrestling themes in the car. I don't care if anybody cares.
A little side note: me and Peter actually did a bloodbath on somebody once upon a time. So, Peter, if you're watching this, you remember this. We actually did do a bloodbath on somebody one time.
Oh my god!
Because of Gangrel. This is how deep we were into wrestling back then. That in our real lives, we used to do stuff in our real lives.
Dude, how many times did an irate customer leave and we did the DX chop to them on the way out? I mean, come on. I mean,
or the what?
Oh, I love doing that.
Do you remember that day with Nicole when we kept saying what?
Oh my gosh.
What? And she's like, stop it.
Was that the day the printer blew up?
It might have been. And she just ran to the
printer
back.
Blew
Stop
up.
saying what? Stop saying what?
So I knock on the door. She opens it. What? Oh man, it's just awesome that again it was the high point of wrestling. I mean, everybody was doing everything. And again, like I said, I love Gangrel. I don't believe he's championship material, but the character, everything worked for him. He just didn't get a good push. Yeah. But anyway, the Hardys started the Terry Invitational tournament. I love it. It's a tit tournament, and in a series of matches with Edge and Christian to see who she would be managing. And I remember going to a bunch of house shows around this time where people had the signs for this. One of the house shows I went to, the Edge and Christian fought the Hardys in one of the matches. So, what was I going to say? They won the services of Terry Runnels, the Hardys did, as their manager by winning the first ever tag team ladder match at No Mercy. So this is where they started bringing in the ladders and stuff, because I think around this time the Dudleys had just arrived. And once the Dudleys arrived, the business was open.
Yeah, that's when the tag team division started to have that resurgence.
Especially what I'm about to get to here in a little bit, what changed tag team wrestling forever, the series of matches they had, which I don't know about you, but I could stand to have one more TLC match between the three of them. Yeah. I have to get a few wheelchairs out.
Yeah. I would rather the memory of it than
And if they do this, it botches and
To see them,
tarnished.
them stink up the joint.
The only one I think that would do that is Edge, because you would worry about his neck at this point. I know the Dudleys are still active, and well, Bubba is. Devon's backstage at WWE, although he did say he'll be in the Royal Rumble next year. Matt and Jeff obviously are still active, and Christian is. Edge would be the only one I'd worry about. So in any event, the next night they actually this is where they dumped Gangrel once they won Terry as the manager. So now they became fan favorites, which I never, when they were heels for a second, I never saw it. I still to this day, I can never see it. And then Matt Hardy as a singles competitor, yes. But the two of them together, no, I can't see it. No. So this actually also, with this Terry Invitational, started a 2-year rivalry with Edge and Christian. I mean, this was like watching the Rockers and Hart Foundation type thing. I mean, this is something you could always watch. They always gave you great matches, hands down. And during this time, Lita had been added to the group because they dropped. S.A. Rios was dropped. She had come in with him. She was managing him, and that wasn't working out. So now they put him there, and you got Team Extreme. And when they put Lita with them, and she'd come in and do the moonsaults.
Yeah, it worked, man.
I mean, this was awesome.
Yeah. That's when they hit their stride. Awesome. They really hit their stride.
Yes. So in 2000, now at WrestleMania, they faced. This was one of the first famous match. They faced Edge and Christian, the Dudleys, in a triple threat tag team ladder match. And this actually, that card, WrestleMania 2000, to me stunk. I didn't like it.
It was trash.
There was too much tag team matches.
Yeah,
the ending was botched. And even if Mick Foley got hurt during that match, you're standing there, you're gonna stand there and tell me that you guys don't have a contingency plan in place for somebody else to win, that you literally see the McMahons running around the ring trying to figure out what the hell we're going to do. I mean, this was just, after you came off WrestleMania 15, this was crapola. It was. For what it was. A bunch of matches didn't make any sense, but this match saved the card, in my opinion. That and the Kurt Angle, Benoit, Jericho match. In any event, at the King of the Ring, the Hardys were in a 4 corners elimination. Oh, Edge and Christian won that match, by the way. I completely forgot because we got off track. Seems like Edge and Christian always won these matches.
Yeah.
They always snuck a way in, which was good. I like them as tag champs. At the King of the Ring, the Hardys were in a 4 corners elimination match now for the tag titles. Also in there, obviously, was Edge and Christian as the champions. Too Cool and Test and Albert, which I only like Test and Albert for Trish. Too Cool. I actually, once Rikishi was with them, I got on the bandwagon with them. I actually liked the dancing and stuff. They were good. The hip hop drop. I don't know about you, but I mean, I got a kick out of it.
All right.
Giving them the tag titles was a stretch, though.
Yeah.
So they eliminated Test and Albert before Edge and Christian obviously eliminated them. So Edge and Christian was actually on a good run with their tag belts. The Hardys were, getting a little unsuccessful at getting the tag belts at this time. Now, SummerSlam 2000, they were involved in the first ever TLC match.
That's right.
This match was amazing. It was for the tag titles, along with Edge and Christian, again, with the champions, and the Dudley Boys. Now, anytime you get these 3 teams in that match, it was amazing. And I'm surprised that this, like Jim Ross would say, matches like this shorten careers.
Yeah.
So,
sure.
and again, Edge and Christian won. Now, I got a question, because was this the one that Edge speared Hardy when he was holding the ladder, when he was holding
midair?
the title?
I don't remember.
I know that Hardy, down the aisle, he went off the big ladder, swanton onto the table. I know that's this pay-per-view, but I don't remember if this was TLC 1 or 2 that Edge speared him when he was holding on to the title. I really
kind of feel like that was WrestleMania.
I want to say it was too.
Yeah.
Because the big moment for SummerSlam then would be Hardy going off that 20-foot ladder, that bigger one, swanton off onto the Dudleys, which was amazing. So in any event now, at Unforgiven, their streak finally came to an end. They defeated Edge and Christian in a steel cage match to become the 2-time tag team champions. So unfortunately, at No Mercy, they lost the titles to, and I didn't like this storyline because we all knew who it was, Los Conquistadores, which we all knew was Edge and Christian. I mean, I don't know if you got a kick out of that. I thought it was stupid.
It was all right. The Conquistadors weren't they? They were a tag team too in
They actually were a tag team.
the
They were
80s.
Survivor Series '88. Yeah.
Yeah, they were.
And then all of a sudden, every so often, they do a gimmick of "Here come the Conquistadors."
And you know, it's fun. It's a side note. I remember being in social studies class in junior high school, and I remember the teacher asked who were the Conquistadors, and I said they wrestled at the Survivor Series 1988, and that's a wrong answer. I'm like, no, they did. And there was some wrestling fans in the class, so they laughed. They got a kick out of it.
That's kind of like a meme I saw on Facebook not too long ago when the teacher asked the kid, explain to me evolution, and he's like, okay, right. You got Ric Flair, you got Triple H, you got Randy Orton, and you got Batista.
Yeah, I was a wise ass back then.
Who was it? In any event, oh my bad, losing my thing here. So the next night on Raw, actually, after they lost the tag team titles, they dressed up as Los Conquistadores. Now they're giving Edge and Christian a taste of their medicine, and they won back the tag titles. So now they're the 3-time tag team champions. So I mean, I like the going back and forth with them for the tag titles. I just didn't the dressing up as the Conquistadors. It was just
they were just trying to do something different, you know.
Well, with them, I really don't see them having to do it. You know, there's no reason to do anything different because it's these teams. I mean,
yeah, I know, but it just, you know, they wanted to give them some different entertainment, I guess, just different storyline, sort of, you know.
Yeah, that's it. All right. So we're moving on now. On November 6th, 2000, on Raw, they lost the tag titles to Right to Censor. This group killed Val Venus and Godfather. I'm sorry.
The Good Father?
The Good Father. Because once that gimmick was over and they tried to go back to their old gimmick, it didn't work. It was pretty much dead.
They killed it. It was dead.
Mm-hmm. And really, those two guys who were the most entertaining on Raw, you take away Jerry Lawler's hose and Val Venus's antics and his catchphrases. I mean, I never liked that group. Stevie Richards. I mean, Ivory's the only one I could see that made sense in that. It was actually Buchanan and Goodfather that won the tag titles. And then what's funny is you can thank Edge and Christian for that because they helped them win it. In any event, at Survivor Series, the Hardys teamed with the Dudleys, which those two can never get along, to face Edge, Christian, Buchanan, and the Goodfathers. The Hardys and Dudleys won that match. I actually remember that match. It was pretty decent. Again, but I didn't like Right to Censor. Didn't like the whole gimmick. The music was annoying. The only time I enjoyed a match with them was at WrestleMania 17 when the Acolytes and Taz whooped the hell out of them. So at Rebellion, the Hardys got a rematch against Right to Censor, but were unable to win the titles due to Val Venus's interference. So now that they're trying to become 4-time tag champs, they're unable to. And again, Right to Censor at the top of the tag team division. Well, anyway, December 4th, 2000 on Raw, Malenko beat Lita, which was I know it has nothing to do with the Hardys, but it's kind of like Team Extreme here. He beat Lita to retain the light heavyweight title, but the stipulation to that, I don't know if you remember this, he earned a date with her, which made the Hardys nuts.
Oh yeah.
The whole hotel room segment and stuff. I didn't like that storyline either. So 3 days later on SmackDown was the date. On the date, the Hardys beat Malenko down in the hotel room. She turned the lights off, puts the lights back on, and they just beat the holy crap out of him. Again, storyline for the fans, I guess. I don't know. Their next feud, as a result of this, was Team Extreme versus the Radicals when they came in. At Armageddon, it was a 6-person elimination match. Hardys and Lita versus Guerrero, Saturn, and Malenko. The Radicals won that match, but that's because they were on a high after coming in that year. You know, they started 2000 on a high note. They ended it on a high note, unfortunately, at the Hardys' expense. So in 2001, now we're moving on. They're still 3-time tag team champions. On March 5th, 2001, they actually won the titles for the 4th time, beating the Dudley Boys after Christian interfered. But unfortunately, 2 weeks later on Raw, they lost the titles to Edge and Christian. So
Yeah, it was just the same. It was kind of just the same.
By now, it's kind of getting a little played out because
Yeah, the
we've seen
rotating
this
of the
for the whole year between the three of them. But by this time, again, the tag team division was kind of depleting, and this was before the botched invasion. So it was pretty much just those three tag teams at this point because the Headbangers are gone, Right to Censor was gone, I think, at the WrestleMania. So and then you had a couple of tag teams that they feuded with. I'll get to here in a second. Um, at WrestleMania 17, they competed along with Edge and Christian and the Dudleys in another TLC match. This was the one I think that Edge speared Hardy off of the belt.
I think it was
Now
because
that I'm remembering.
I think it's one of those moments where they replay during the WrestleMania, like WrestleMania moments.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's part of like.
Oh, this is always one that they do the WrestleMania rewind,
Yeah.
and this is one they'll definitely always show you. And WrestleMania 17 was a pretty packed card, so this kind of helped it along. I mean, I really did enjoy. There were a couple of the matches I didn't care for, especially the gimmick battle royal I was laughing at, but some of the gimmicks that were in there were just ridiculous.
Yeah.
But good main event, good singles matches, good. But WCW guys up there rooting for them and whatever. The botched invasion. I don't even want to get into it. So in any event, with the help of Rhino, unfortunately, Edge and Christian were victorious in this one as well. I mean, they just had God on their side on this one, boy. No wonder you could call them the ultimate opportunists even back then in the tag team division. I know you're not a fan of them. That's fine. So following WrestleMania, they had a brief feud with the two-man Power Trip. Now, by this point, everybody's injured, and their roster is really down. You have to thank the invasion for happening because I think, to me, the product was kind of getting a little stale after WrestleMania before July because you had the lack of main eventers, you had the lack of a tag team division because now remember, look at it, Guerrero's out, Benoit's out, soon after Triple H is out, and now you have Austin and Triple H teaming together. Going up against the Hardys at this point, I thought they were like really reaching and kind of struggling. I mean, the invasion didn't help, but it brought you in some wrestlers, but it didn't help. But I don't know about you, but I thought it was getting a little stale.
Yeah, but I remember not liking this at all. I think this is when Jeff Hardy's the IC champion and Triple H just beats him just because?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then they beat down Lita.
Yeah.
And then, after they took out the Hardys, then they went after the Brothers of Destruction. And then Austin took on Jericho and Benoit, and that's when Benoit got hurt. So, I mean, it was just, at this point, after you put Austin and Triple H together, it was like they were dominating everything. They had all the belts at one point, and it's just like, it felt stale to me. So, they are actually doing singles matches now through the middle of 2001. The Hardy Boys, they didn't split up, but they were working singles matches because remember during the invasion, Jeff Hardy had one of the best hardcore title matches I've ever seen against Rob Van Dam.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
and people were demanding a rematch, and they got it, and it was just as good as the first one.
Yeah.
Now the invasion, whole invasion gimmick. On October 8, 2001 on Raw, they won the WCW tag team titles from Booker T and Test. That tag team doesn't even make sense.
No.
This whole invasion was freaking chaos. If you ever still want to do this episode, I'm down, but
no, we'll get around to it.
I wasn't happy.
It has to be done. It has to be done.
I know it has to be, but whatever. 2 weeks later on SmackDown, they lost the tag team titles to the Dudley Boys, and this is around the time where literally you blink and there's new tag team champions, there's new this champion, there's new that champion.
This was awful. It's
going back and forth. Who's going from the Alliance to WWE and back and forth? It's just oh my lord! It's just a whole year of Angle Austin. It was ridiculous. I wasn't this more pissed off at main events until I saw Cena or the Orton matches. I mean, you just every month you had Austin Angle. I mean, come on, there's other people on this roster, guys. Anyway, I'm sidetracking. I'm getting aggravated about it. So now at Survivor Series, the Hardys started having a little bit of a rift because they lost the tag team titles to the Dudley Boys in a tag team unification title match in the steel cage. And I remember this match because Matt was already out of the ring. He climbed over. It was Bubba Dudley left I believe it was Bubba Dudley left with Jeff Hardy. Instead of Jeff getting out of the cage, he goes for the swanton off the top, misses it, and the Dudleys win the match. And Matt Hardy was irate at his brother. And this loss resulted in a storyline breakup and a match between the two at Vengeance. Now, unfortunately, Vengeance is only going to be remembered for one thing: Jericho beating Rock and Austin in the same night. People are going to forget that this match right here was a great match on the card. The two of them pulled out all the stops with Lita as the referee. And Jeff Hardy won after Lita, who's a special guest referee, did not see Matt's foot on the rope. So there's a little controversy in there. I really think that this was a storyline that Vince was going to break the two of them up and then decided last minute, no, I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, to hold off.
Because it's 2002, if you remember, at the Royal Rumble, they came in and they actually hugged it out when they were both in the ring at the same time. So I think they were trying to see if they can break them up, but then I guess, like I said, he changed his mind and decided to keep them together. So at No Way Out, they were in at 2002 now. They're in a tag team turmoil match along with Scotty 2 Hotty and Albert, because Brian Christopher was let go. Christian and Lance Storm, which was a decent tag team. The Dudleys, and your favorite, Billy and Chuck. Oh, yeah, and the APA. We used to call them something else, but I'm not going to do that on here. So the APA won that match. Another tag team I really liked. At WrestleMania 18, the Hardys were in a four corners elimination match for the tag titles. Billy and Chuck defended against the Hardys, Dudleys, and APA. So APA got eliminated by the Dudleys. The Hardys eliminated the Dudleys, and then unfortunately, and I put unfortunately, they were eliminated by Billy and Chuck, who kept the tag titles. Again, I'd so love to call them by the name I gave them years ago, but I can't. In any event. Next after Mania was a feud with Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman. We covered this in the Brock Lesnar thing. They just got destroyed. This wasn't a feud. This was a punishment.
Yeah.
This was an all-out four-alarm ass whooping. There was no. This was a one-sided fight. They never got any offense in on this whatsoever. So, and at Judgment Day, they lost to Lesnar and Heyman in a tag match, and Heyman, of course, never even got into the ring. So technically, it's a handicap match.
Yeah.
By this point, the Hardys are really going downhill. I mean, they're not getting the tag belts. You're putting them in a match. You're trying to beef up Brock Lesnar, who doesn't need it.
Right, by bringing him.
He's already got it. So, I mean, now the Hardys had split up when Jeff began a storyline with The Undertaker. And this Monday Night Raw match for the Hardcore title, I really did enjoy this one.
Yeah, I remember watching this. This was good.
This was amazing. And he actually got a handshake from Undertaker after this match.
Yeah, I remember that.
This was a great match between the two. Well, Matt Hardy at this point now is wrestling on Sunday Night Heat. So now they've split the two of them up without fighting each other, but Matt's not getting a push, but kind of Jeff is. And Matt was actually attacked by Jeff. Matt had attacked Jeff due to jealousy off of Jeff getting opportunities. And Matt eventually was moved now to SmackDown because now they did the draft.
Right, yeah.
So, unfortunately, they not only did they split the Hardys up, but remember, they split the Dudleys up. Mm-hmm. So now you got Deacon Batista with Reverend Devon. And I'm like, what is this nonsense? Why are they... I didn't understand why you took your best two tag teams and you split them up.
It makes sense.
I don't know. Now, unfortunately, shortly after this, Jeff was going through some problems because if anybody had saw Survivor Series that year, and you see, because Jeff was involved in a match with Bubba and Spike, there was a six-man tag team match. He was out of his gourd. I don't even think Jeff knew he was there. He was going through some issues. He had some drug problems. On April 22nd, 2003, now he was released from the WWE for erratic behavior, drug use, and refusal to go to rehab, and his declining ring performance, as well as constant tardiness, and he no-showed events. I mean, this is a lot of stuff that Vince put up with. Most guys, one of these things on that list, and you're out. I mean, it's just a shame, and you could see it towards the end of 2002 that he was having issues. You can also see the erratic like the face paint, the hair, the outfit. It was just everything was kind of changing on him, and I mean, it just I don't know. It wasn't good for him, unfortunately, and he wound up being released. Matt Hardy was then released in April 2005, which this was on him for his unprofessional conduct with social media after finding out Lita had a real life affair with Edge. But he returned a few months later after Vince was like, "Oh, I can make money off of this," and they had a series of street fights. But by this point now, the Hardys are over and done with. Jeff is out. He's in shortly after his release. I think in 2004 he went to TNA. Doing his series of matches with your favorite wrestler Jeff Jarrett.
Oh, Jesus.
Also AJ Styles. And then Matt went on to his version 1 garbage, which I never liked. But this wraps up our part 1 of the Hardy Boyz. Our part 2 will start with their reuniting in 2006 through 2009, and then their return in 2017 at WrestleMania, which I really like that return. But overall, their first run, 4-time tag team champions, not too shabby. Some Hall of Fame worthy matches, TLC matches. Their feud with Edge and Christian. I think they had a good run, but unfortunately, for Jeff Hardy, it ended tragically with all the stuff that he was dealing with.
Well, you guys make sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, and we'll see you guys soon.
Take care.